This one is a little bit close to my heart. In part one, Ilina opens up about the tough realities of living with endometriosis and moving into IVF. It's the hard truth about the pain, the setbacks, and how to keep going anyway. This one's for anyone struggling, fighting, and holding on between endo and IVF.
Hi, I'm Britt.
And I'm Amy, and welcome to the Every Season podcast.
We're here for a fun time, not a long time.
Hopefully we're here for a bit of a long time. Hey, Britt.
Hey, Ames.
Would you say you need some assistance when it comes to being more aware of your body?
Why? What have you got?
Well, you can download our free 7-step female body awareness kit and see if it helps.
Sweet, where?
In the show notes and on our website.
Also, in order for us to be here for a long time,
please subscribe to our podcast. What season would you say you are currently in at the moment?
I'm in my reborn season. I'm finding myself again. So the season I'm in right now is just learning who I am. Who am I without IVF?
Yeah, I love that. So,
I know.
So I suppose like you've gone on a massive, massive journey, and there would be a lot of people out there that have probably seen a fair bit of it, but there's a lot behind the scenes that no one probably notices, and the emotions and etc. From my understanding, and I could be wrong, you started off with endo, and that was like, well, you do have endometriosis. And then from there, you went into IVF to obviously try and conceive. So can you just take us on a bit of a journey? If you want to go with the endo and then into the IVF, or if you just want to start off with the IVF, that's completely up to you. So you just take us on that journey.
No, we'll start you from the beginning where it all started for me, because I think it gives the listeners an understanding of how it all unfolds, because a lot of people go through this journey and not know a lot of things that happen, which I'd like to educate and let them know this is where I started and this is where I am. If you could change anything, do it. So, I want to lead that example for people and give them some sense of hope. So let's roll back 10 years.
10 years.
That's where it all started.
Wow.
And so I just had, I was single. I was working on me, just got out of a very, very long relationship. And I was just, being Ilina, traveling, having fun. And then hubby came along and we fell in love. And I remember on our first date, we were very like, I want kids. This is like, if I'm going to go into this relationship, I want kids. This is what I'm hoping for. And he was younger at the time, which I found out a couple of months later.
Did he lie?
He lied.
Did he?
Yes, he lied. So I was 27. I'm just about to turn 28, and he was just turned 22. So it was a 6-year big gap, and he lied about it. But we went on
little bugger.
Can we ask what age he lied? What age did he say he was?
It was 22. No, so he said it was 26, which was 2 years younger than, even for me. I was like, 2 years younger. I don't know. I was even umming and ahhing about 2 years. But then we went on this amazing day, and he was so mature. Like there was no indication to say that he was younger than me. Like there was just very mature. He had his head screwed on. He was working. He knew what he wanted out of life. He knew what he wanted out of a partner. And we were very open and honest about that. And that was like our first day. We literally were like, this is our plan for the next 10 years. I want to end up being in a stable relationship. I want to get married. I want to have kids. And we discussed that on our first date. And, and then, we found out he was younger. And even then I was like, oh my God, is this too good to be true? I found someone that's like perfect for me, but is he really going to be mature enough to tackle everything I'm asking from him? And so we started dating. Things moved pretty quickly. We weren't, careful on the protective side of, our sexual adventures.
Yep.
But and I didn't know I had endo at the time. I had really, irregular periods. It was painful. And I just thought that was the norm because it happened my whole time I've had my menstrual cycle. And we just couldn't fall pregnant. I'm like, surely, like he's 22, he's young, like his sperm should be, fighters out fast. Yes. And I'm like, it's not happening. And then he was actually the one that instigated it for me, but like, I think you need to get checked. Like, I think something's wrong. He goes, I'm not saying something is, but let's go check it out. And it was the first time like I went to a gyno and I sat down with her and we did had this conversation and she just brought it to my attention saying, you know, have you ever considered you may have endometriosis? And I'm like, what's that? I've never heard of it. Like, what does it do to your body? And she explained it in a way that was very like, oh, it just does this. It wasn't as intense as leading up to what was going to happen to me, how intense it was going to be. So it was very like sugar coated. Like it was okay. We can figure it out and we just need to go under. And that's when everything changed. My first surgery, we went under. And waking up from that, it was just like a massive slap in the face. And she was like, I'm so sorry to tell you this, but you've got stage 4 endometriosis. It is quite severe. You've got a condition called chocolate endometriosis where like 2 endometrioses grow within the one. So it creates a bigger endometriosis when it's harder to cut away to create it was a shit show in there. Let's be real. It was muscled. But the worst part of it is because it was so big and it grew so large, it damaged my fallopian tubes. And that was a decision I had to make to remove them. So I didn't even get the fun of like, I'm going to try have kids and start a family and all that. It was like, yeah, let's try for a year and then you can't have kids naturally. It was just like a big whirlwind of an effect. And then we kept going into back-to-back surgeries to remove the endo, remove the fallopian tubes. I had time to really settle with that emotion. Like even though it's been like 9 years since that surgery, it's really hard to look back at that because it's like it's that moment that made it so hard. Like something so simple, you know, you've got endo. Like who knew that one first time surgery that was going to be my future. That was going to happen to me. And this is why I'm so passionate about being such an advocate for it and telling younger women to trust their gut. If it is painful, just trust it because that one, like for me, it was just one time. It's like you might have endo, but here it is, and here's what it's done to you. So it was instantaneously just heartbreaking, and it changed everything. And
do you think, before we go on, do you think if you were educated a lot earlier about those painful periods that you had from such a young age, that you could have got on top of it? Like, did they say you would have had to have removed your fallopian tubes because it wouldn't have got to that stage because it was like so long until you had that first surgery?
Brittany, you know what? Yes, I do really believe that. I really believed I should have just trusted my gut. And really be like, be an advocate for myself, you know, like just really believing what I knew was wrong.
Something was wrong, yeah.
Yeah, and I was just, I think at the time I was just very like, I trust the doctors. I'm just going to go on the pill. It really masks the symptoms. And I didn't fight. And this is why I'm so like, I'm fighting now to help others because it's like, 28 is your, like, in a sense, it's like a prime period to want to have a family, to, start, you're established, you're working, you've got everything going for you. And it's like, it's the right time. And it was just taken away from them, like in an instant. So it's something that I really want people to really understand that if you trust yourself, go for it. Don't question it. Just ask the questions, educate. I wasn't.
So you just mentioned before that you were on the pill. So were you, obviously when you and Nick had met and then you weren't, like, had you gotten off the pill when you'd met Nick, or was it when you met Nick you then got off the pill and then you realized these symptoms? Because like obviously being on the pill, I assume that you still would have received, gotten symptoms and stuff like that, but it would have masked a hell of a lot more.
Yes, it did. So when I did go on the pill, my periods were regular. Everything was normal. I found that the pain wasn't as bad, but everyone's different. Everyone's symptoms are different, where mine were really bad and then all of a sudden it was like, it's bad, but it was tolerable. I could tolerate it a lot more. And then I think when I was learning who I was again, I was like, you know what, my body
Yeah.
needs a break. I'm getting off the pill. I just want to just, see what's going on. And then that's when it hit, the
That's when,
irregular
yeah.
periods, the pains came back. It was just like, it happened so quickly. And I was like, okay, it's just probably because I'm off the pill now. And because I was on the pill from the age of 19 to the age of 27. So I was on it for quite a while. And I just thought my body's just having withdrawal. Like, it's just withdrawing from it. It's just adjusting. And then, yeah, a year being sexually active with someone you'd think would have worked,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
So you woke up from the surgery, and the doctor obviously that horrible moment. Did you then at that point, is that when did you have to go under again to obviously remove the fallopian tubes?
Yeah, because the first operation, they wouldn't, without your consent, they can't remove something.
No. Yeah.
So it was that, yeah, that once we woke up and then, yeah, we had to go back in. She gave me time to just really educate myself, go online, see the ramification of what this can cause for a fertility journey. And that one was harder because when you go down the rabbit hole online, you see all these goods, bads, ugly, and you kind of mentally jar yourself in a way that it's like, this is a lot. And I had a meltdown. I cried. I was so broken because I'm like, I might not be able to have kids now. Like that was my thought. I'm like, I can't have kids. Whether without the IVF, I was like, I can't have kids. And I put that in my mind. And my husband, like Nick at the time, we were just dating, and I was very, like, I knew he was young, and I was just like, I would not hate you right now if you walked away, because I don't want to take that away from you. Like, you can walk away, but he's an only child. I come from an ethnic background. We get married, have kids. That's, we do that. That's just the way the cycle of ethnicity works for us. So it's like, you get married, you have kids, your grandparents are happy, everyone around you is happy. And I didn't want to be the reason why he would be unhappy later on. But credit to him, 6 months later, he proposed. And he was like, I'm here for the long haul. And who knew we would still be on this journey and still be fighting, and he's not once flinched or ran away. So I'm just saying to any women out there that are, considering younger is probably immature, I'm telling you now, it was the best decision I ever made, because he keeps me so alive. He keeps me young. He keeps me grounded in a way that, I'm so serious, and he takes that away, and he makes life fun. And that's, yeah.
What's his star sign?
He's an Aquarius.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Why?
like old soul.
What's the fun
Well, I
one?
was- No, I know. That's why I was like, oh, fun. But I was thinking like old soul's a Capricorn. So I was like, oh, I wonder if, because he obviously being that age, and I mean, like, we're stereotyping here. But yes, there is a stigma that young males, you just do not go there. You go there for fun, but not like what you wanted at the time. Do you know what I mean? I think it's just so beautiful that, I think you were able to have that relationship, and it's a testament to the both of you. And I think as well, like, it's hard for, I mean, it's so unimaginable for myself and what you guys have gone through. But I think also, especially coming from, like you said, your story where you first met, and that was something that the both of you, it was just paramount within that relationship. And I think that is just something that is just, it's horrible to hear.
And also to go through IVF. Like IVF, like from what happened, start off with endometriosis, and then to go through IVF like that, and injecting hormones and all of those things, you would be going up and down, and he is stuck by your side the whole time. Like, I know what the hormones are like a little bit, but like, and I can tell you right now, they
It's
ain't
not
good.
pleasant.
No. So like,
No.
when you guys have been going through it for, did you say 10 years now? How long-
So from like IVF has just been, I think it's 6 years in a nutshell, but like our journey literally started at the beginning of our relationship. So it's just, it hasn't
crazy.
stopped. So it's surgery, and he was there for every surgery, every moment where I felt horrible, and lost my self-worth. I was in a very ugly place mentally. I had put on a lot of weight, IVF, the hormones and my endo. I wasn't comfortable with who I was becoming. And the poor bloke's seen every multi-personalities come out of me, and it's like, babe, please don't change. Just like, stay who you are. Like, I love it.
So cute.
It's kept him on his toes, I'd like to think. So it's been good. Yeah.
I love that.
God.
So
Yeah.
taking it back, so you obviously kind of went down the rabbit hole of, I guess the ramifications of getting the removal of fallopian tubes. So then take us on that journey then from then until obviously your IVF journey, which you said's been kind of about 6 years now.
Yeah, so, we got engaged, wedding was meant to come around and COVID hit, and we were, again, going online, IVF, where do we go, who do we see? But luckily enough, at the time, our gynecologist was part of the IVF, she oversaw it. So we were under her control and under her guidance.
Was
And
she
she
the
oversaw
same?
it.
Sorry, Lena, was she the same gynecologist right from the start, or did you change?
No, she was mine from the start. So
from
she
the
was
start,
there
yep.
for my endo diagnosis through my first couple of rounds of IVF. So because she wanted to see how the endo was going to affect my fertility journey. And then it came to a point where we just kept failing. No matter how much we would push ourselves and no matter how good of a number we'd get, which for some, like I hear people get 20s, 30s, over 10 and stuff. We were getting very low numbers.
Is this with the egg collection?
Yes, egg collection. So we were getting low numbers. So when at the time I didn't know any better, I thought I was getting great numbers. I'm like, oh, I'm getting great numbers. I'd get 5 or 6. I'm like, oh, this is great. And then, they just kept failing. Every time we'd do a transfer, it just kept failing and failing. And it got to a point where the endo kept coming back quicker in between every IVF round. And she was just like, I don't know why your body's doing that. She goes, I hear people, it'll come back a year or 2, 3 after a surgery. Mine within 2 to 3 months, you could see the growth coming back. And she was just like, that's quite severe. So it was one of the cases where it was hard. It was hard for her to fathom. She's like, I've never seen someone's endo come back within 2 to 3 months. So it was always like clean out, then a cycle. Let's do a clean out to keep you fresh for a cycle.
So how many surgeries have you had all up?
So
Of the lapse?
it's about 5 surgeries. Yeah.
Because
Oh my God.
I only just realized, Alina, that, and I don't know if I assume you know, because you know a lot more than what I do from this perspective, but the laps obviously the clean outs create scar tissue, and that scar tissue obviously is not good for fertility. So the more laps that you do, because like my doctor was saying that just this week, that the more laps that we do, more clean outs we do, the more scar tissue, increase the scar tissue, which that then obviously affects your fertility.
Yeah, because the lesions, once you do lesions on your uterus, it stays there. It doesn't go. But then the endo also causes the lesions too. So
It's a
you can't win.
catch-22.
You can't win it. So the benefit of it is sometimes that you'd like to look at it, it grows outside the uterus, yes. So it doesn't necessarily affect implantation as much, but it still affects something. Like it's still putting pressure on your bowels or your ovaries, or it's doing like, once the fallopian tubes were removed, it grew around my ovaries. It grew around my bowels. It targeted other organs. So it'll find the next organ to latch on. And that was what was happening with me. Like it latched onto my bowels so bad too that I had to get a bowel surgeon to come into that surgery to make sure I didn't lose my bowels or cause damage to my bowels. It was constant battle internally with this endo, and when people like shake it off, it's like, oh, it's just endo.
It's not.
For some people it might be minimal, but for the ones that are going through it very severely, I take my hat off to those girls, because man, the strength it takes to fight this disease, and it's not curable.
No.
Yous are so brave, and yous are so strong that you don't understand the power you have within you to overcome that mentally and physically. So I just want to, give those girls the recognition they deserve, because there needs to be a cure. It's not a joke. It's not a joke.
Yeah, like you get the pain every month, don't you? Like it's not like it goes away. It's not like it's once a year. It's all the time.
Well, this morning I got my periods, but last night I was in bed, curled up, water bottle. I cried my ass off because I was so cramped up, and my husband's away to New Zealand. I don't have him around, and it's just I felt so lonely. I'm like, even though he's so used to it, he's always comforted, and I'm like, I don't have my safety net, and it was really hard. Like it hit me last night, so and I'm like, far out, it's back again. Like, and when it gets worse, because the pains get worse, you notice something. I'm like, okay, it's growing. I know it's growing. I'm scared to go back under, because I know I'm scared to wake up and they'll be like, oh, by the way, it's attacked this now. Oh, it's done this. And I'm like, I don't want to do it again.
Is it stage 4 every time it comes back?
Yes. For me, yes. And mine's an active endometriosis. So they've turned it into just stage 4 endometriosis to endometriosis stage 4 active, because it just comes back quicker than normal.
What makes the different stages? So like, what is the different stages? Do you know, or you don't know?
I don't know specifically, but I think it's the size of the growth and the length of time it takes to grow.
Right. Okay.
That's what I would assume, because looking at my cases, when they say that, I'm assuming it's because the amount of growth there is in such a short period of time. It's scary.
Elena,
so scary.
I guess before we go into the IVF journey, how have you coped with that? I know that's a very big question, but how have you coped with continuously being told it's stage 4 active? Like, I guess you mentioned about your safety net with Nick. But when the doctors essentially just say there's no cure and this is what needs to be done, what gets you going every day to keep going? Okay, cool. I've got to keep doing this. I've got to keep doing this.
The thing that what women don't realize is when you've lived with it for so long, you're just adapted to the pain. You build that threshold, you build that mental stamina. It's like you're so used to it, and it's just like, this is just the regular for me. It becomes the normal. At the beginning, it was a bit like, oh my God, this and that. But then years and years of it, you're just like, it's back. Yes, I'm just going to have to deal with this pain. And it becomes more of a mental thing rather than a physical. So you're mentally just get out of bed, Elena. You've got this. Stop doing this. You just push along. But at the same time, I'm not going to excuse the fact that there are days where I feel like punching a hole through a wall, or going to a hospital and be like, just give me something for this pain. And the fact that I know that it's not curable, it's going to be cured maybe in the next 10, 15, 20 years. I'm going to be older then. My body's not going to be, I'm younger now. I want to enjoy it now. I want to enjoy life now when I can. So I think that's what keeps me going, the fact that life is too short. And with my last surgery, my heart stopped and I nearly didn't make it on the other side. And I think that was the kick at the butt I needed to be like, you know what, I'm not going to let this define who I am. I am going to be stronger, and I am going to take life to the fullest and just accommodate to this pain.
No.
Yeah, I remember you saying that on TV, that it nearly stopped, and that's just so scary in itself. For you to,
And I think what makes it worthwhile for me is the fact that being on such a Australian-wide television show, I feel like I'm carrying the shoulders and being that voice for other women. And a lot of women, they're scared to talk about it because they're scared that people will be like, oh, it's just endo, get over it, And there are people, a lot out there that do that to women, and it becomes like, am I being annoying? Am I doing this? It's like, no, you're not. No, we need to speak up. We need to bring awareness. We need to find and do something to make this easier for women, because it affects everything. It's not just mentally mine. It's, motherhood. It affects everything. So it's not a joke. And that's what I
Yeah.
try to like really get that message across. It's not something to play around. Like this is life and death, literally. For me, it was.
This is just the start of Elena's journey. Join us Wednesday for part 2, where the story continues.
Howdy, it's us again. Hope you enjoyed the episode.
Don't forget to download the awareness kit and subscribe to the podcast. Have a fabulous day.